So I get a lot of questions about how to get all the gauges working on your LS swap for your OBS. I've done it on a 98 and a 99. So in this video I'm going to go over how to get everything to work. This is going to be kind of specific to 98 and 99, maybe 2000. 96 and 97 is very similar. Computer pins are just in different spots, so you can probably use this video and just cross-reference things over. But for 98, 99, 2000, this is how you get them to work. Remotes on these things are trash. Alright, so let's fire this thing up, show you what we got going on. We can't drive it, this thing has a flat. I did drive it in my last video, drove really well. A couple things I need to fix, but you can see I guess we'll just start from left to right. So RPMs work. I haven't matched them up to like a scanner thing, but that's pretty damn close if you ask me. Speedo, it works. I haven't GPS'd it. Again, I'm sure it's close. Yeah, so I'm gonna get the laptop out. I'm gonna show you LT1 swap. A lot of people already know this. Some people maybe not. This guy is a freaking god. He's went through and done all the work, found out what every pin on every connector does. Everything's labeled, female side, male side, whatever. So I'm gonna show you where I moved wires around to and what you had to splice or add to make all of these work. The hardest gauge to get to work is the fuel gauge. So the computer can do it, but for it to be really accurate, a tuner really needs to see it like in person. It's very difficult to get it right just from like a mail-in tune. What I did to circumvent that, it's kind of expensive, but it's the easiest way to do it yourself. I'll just pop the hood real quick and I'll show you. I forgot what the part is, but essentially it's just a little module that converts the signal from the tank to your gauge, and then you just have to program it yourself to where full is and to where empty is, and quarter, half, 3/4, and then it just works. Other than that, it's pretty easy. Oil pressure, if you have the single wire, you just use a 99/2 oil pressure sensor, and the OBS, the 98, 99, 2000 plug right into it. I think some of the older ones do too, but I haven't done any of those. I'm going off of my experience, what I have done. So yeah, that's that. You can, on my last truck, the 98, I did just get the sensor adapter because that one had the 3-wire. That one, I got the adapter, so I ran the 98 OBS sensor into the block, but the threads are different, so you have to get the thread adapter. Volt gauge just works. I think there's 1 wire on the alternator. I mean, it's pretty simple. When you have it tuned, have them turn off the charge malfunction light or something like that, so that way it doesn't freak out. Obviously we got voltage. Coolant temp is a weird one. On the 98 I did the LS1 3-wire, so 2 wires go to the computer, and then 1 wire goes through the plug on this side of the firewall to the gauge. But the problem with that is usually about 15 degrees too cool. This one, you see, is starting to move now. So on this one I tried to just add its own sensor, but the problem is after a couple minutes it just pegs. I don't know if it's a bad sensor. It is brand new. I did not buy the most expensive one. I'm gonna let it run. Maybe it had an air pocket in it. We'll see if it's accurate now, but like I said, we'll check back in a minute. And the shift indicator, all that, when you do your swap, you keep your neutral safety switch for this truck, and then just the trans plug and the speed sensor is what you keep from the LS harness. I'm not sure if that speed signal needs to be adjusted or not in the tune. I'll leave a link to the guy I've used, Bauer Performance. He got everything to work beautifully because the tuner does have to adjust the RPM. Yeah, you see the coolant temp is maxed out, which is not actually that hot. I have plugged into the computer, which the OBD2 port does function correctly. And I've read it from the computer, and it's right where it needs to be. So I have an issue with something. I'm not sure yet. I'm still trying to pinpoint that out. So at this point, it's almost better just to get the 3-wire and run the LS1 sensor. So it's just a little cool, but at least it's more accurate than pegged. But yeah, I'm gonna get the laptop out and I'll show you all my notes. Here's that fuel link. It's just 4 wires. One is positive, but it's a switch power, so you need to come on when the key's on, ground obviously, and then the wire from the fuel sender unit, and then 1 wire to the gauge, and that's it. Alright, bear with me. Got my reflection in there. But anyway, what you want to do is go to lt1swap.com, wire harness info. I'm going to try and do this through the camera. It's a little bit of a delay. So what you need to start with, okay. So the C100 block, that's the big one that goes, it's right underneath the cruise control module and everything on the driver's side firewall. Down here, so for your TAC, it's E8. That's the TAC signal. It's probably best to print this stuff out or open up a couple tabs. Go back to, so this is weird. So you go to 99 through 06, but down here he has the, I think you should put that in the other location, but so these are all the pinouts. What you start by doing is thinning things out. So here's that. Yellow you do not need, green is up to you, but you do need it for this swap, and whatnot. To print all these out. And this is all like free. This is not, you don't have to pay for subscription or anything. There's not a lot you need from the OBS, the 350 harness. This connector has a couple things. Some of these are AC. Oh, dog, be quiet. And it's also worth noting that I have a 411 ECM, which is, did I miss it? What did I do? Oh, here we go. It's the 99 through 02. So this is the pinout, a little bit different style, which actually, if you want it to be the same, you just click here and he has the PDFs. You can print them out. Same deal. White you need, don't mess with them. Yellow you get rid of if you don't need it. Blue, kind of the same as the green. You don't need it, but for this we do. Both connectors. So starting from left to right. Actually, you know what? Well, I'll have to get my notes, but this is how you work the website. There's a lot of confusion, I think. People just don't know how to use this. I've done it on this before. It's a little bit different. This is the 03 through 06. I helped a person do it. It wasn't mine, so I don't really want to cover that. Essentially what you do is you thin out the 5.7 OBS harness to keep the sensors, neutral safety switch, things like that. And then the LS harness is a standalone harness. And then you basically are just plugging in a couple of things that you keep from the OBS so that everything works. You do keep the OBS fuse box because that controls everything else in the truck, like your wipers, the cruise control, everything, starter, all that good stuff. So hopefully I covered this well enough. You will understand, at least have a good grasp how to find things now. He does have a video in here, a couple videos, or a video looks like. Some good how-tos. He swapped a 98. There it is. Okay, get to my notes. So starting from the left to the right, first we got the tachometer. So on this computer, I believe it's the same on the green. But for the red, it is red 10, like I showed you inside. It's E8. So there's a wire that goes to the injectors or coils on the top of the OBS. Cut it long enough so you can splice a new end on it, or maybe all the stuff you're pulling out of here you can just reuse a long wire and then splice it into E8, and that is for the tack. But like I said, the tuner has to adjust the output on it. For the speedo, it's like black 4, black 3, and black 4. So this one has 2 deals. I messed up on this last time. I figured it out. LS computer only has 1, so you tie them both together and put it in red 50. I believe it's the same on the green as well. So that will make your speedo work. Oil pressure and coolant temp go through the small plug underneath the coolant reservoir on the passenger side. Do not cut those. You need those wires. The LS computer does not read oil pressure, so that is just however you get the factory wire engaged to work. Like I said, there's 2 different ways. You can either adapt the 350 sensor, or if you have the single wire, you can use a 99 through 02 5.3 6-liter oil pressure sensor. 1 wire for the alternator, and I think the plug is the same, and if it's not, you just cut it and splice it. And same with the coolant temp, it goes through that passenger side plug. This does have its own coolant temp things, but the computer does not have a put out signal like it does for speed. You have to get the 3 wire and run the 3rd wire to that gauge, so you have to splice the wire together, or get an adapter, a thread adapter, and thread the 350 OBS sensor into the block somehow. So lastly, fuel. This is the one that's kind of weird. There's 2 wires. I believe it's blue 9 goes to 38, and then it's either red 54, clear 13, or red 73. So there's 3 on this computer. I think 1 in and 2 out. I'm not exactly sure. I haven't been able to get it to work from the computer, so I don't worry about it. I just buy that little sender, and it just takes care of everything. So I figure I'll just show you this too. So this link right here, this has all the factory plugs on the OBS. It is not that one. I believe it's this one. This is under your fuse, or the not fuse box, sorry, glove box inside. Then there's this big thick red power wire. The plug that actually passes through the firewall doesn't come apart. That's just where it seals to the body. Inside there's this plug. Let's see. Oil pressure indicator output. So 1 tan wire, that's for your oil pressure. And then on the outside, you just follow that wire to the plug. That stays the same. And here's the coolant temp. These are the 2 you'll need on that side. Get that to work, and leave all this stuff. You need all this. This is where like your neutral safety switch and everything runs through. So this is how your reverse lights kick on. This tells the ignition that it's okay to start. You keep your starter wire from the 350 harness because that comes from the factory fuse block. So it's just easier to just keep that we don't have to add anything. The only thing you do for the standalone harness would be for the injectors, mass airflow, any of those pink wires in the LS harness that need to be turned on with the key. So you'll have like 3 fuses and 1 relay. 1 relay just turns them all on, and you are set. See, he has got the male and female side. But essentially what you do is you find, these are what color they are. I think both sides of that pass through. But you just follow it to the plug. So if you use the 3 wire, I have covered it in a different video, but I'll pull it up real quick. You'll just splice that wire into the 3rd wire on the LS1 coolant temp sensor. I'll get a part number real quick. So I'm on a forum. This is the 2 wire that your 5.3, 6-liter, whatever will probably have. And the terrible pictures, but you can tell there's 3 right there. You can buy the pigtail, or you can go to Pick and Pull and find a harness that's already cut up. I wouldn't cut up a brand new or a good harness. Don't be that guy. But this is the plug you need. It's the same one for the throttle position sensor, I believe. And the OBS one, there's actually two on the truck like this. So you just, if you're stripping down your harness, just find this plug and keep it. And then get a sensor for a, I believe it's a 97. Let me look it up real quick. So people don't realize this either. Rock Auto is a great way to cross-reference parts. Oh, come on, focus. Let's go. I believe 97. Camaro 5.7. Maybe it's a 98. Looks like it's a 98 actually, so that's a good one. See, they have both though, so you gotta be careful. Don't just click and buy. So that one's the 2-wire. You gotta kind of look at the end. Oh, they have a couple pictures. Let's see. Nope. There we go. There's the AC Delco part number if you need it. Yeah, 20 bucks, which I might end up just doing that. That was the easiest way. It's a little, like I said, it reads a little low on the temperature, but you at least aren't pegged out, which does you no good. I might pull that out real quick just to see if there's an air pocket right there. You know, see if just air burps out or if it's just straight coolant. It is possible I got a bad sensor, but I don't know. We'll see. All right, so I hope that helps on how to get your gauges working. It's one of the biggest or the most asked questions on my videos, for these anyway. If I didn't cover something, feel free to comment. I'll do my best to steer you in the right direction.